The next segment of our show is called While You Were Working. And I want to highlight this conference. I feel like I'm doing it a disservice by calling it a conference because it's more than a conference. It's a movement, in my opinion. It's a collection and a community of future forward minds collaborating to turn the possibilities of today into the realities of tomorrow. And before I share a little bit more about this conference and movement, I want to tell you how it's personally impacted me. So I have shared about organizations and conferences that I've attended that have like literally blown my mind. And I have met with people in my field and in my industry. So for example, going to HR conferences, ever since I became an entrepreneur and seeing just the possibilities that can exist within my field. And so for the longest time, I'd always been going to these sorts of conferences and walking away inspired and motivated. But it had always been in my field and not necessarily in other different disciplines. Well, fast forward to 2000, I guess it would be 2018, when I attended this conference in Napa Valley. It was my first time going to Napa. So I got to, indulge in all of wine country. And anyway, so I went to this conference not knowing what to expect. But at the time, I was a Southwest storyteller with Southwest Airlines. And I was essentially a social media ambassador. And I attended this conference. And so I was documenting my journey. I have some podcasts that I recorded from there. But something happened at this conference. And I'm still blown away by it, because what happened at that conference is I was able to meet people who are leaders and excelling at a very high level in industries, if I can be honest, industries that I didn't even care about or didn't know about, and that I didn't know that I needed to know about or care about. I'm talking about space exploration. I'm talking about molecular research. I'm talking about innovative design. I'm talking about film critique. This particular conference that I attended was so impactful. I actually have been fortunate enough to speak with someone there, and I have a client relationship from that conference. But more importantly, I have friends, I have relationships, I have contacts, I have perspective in life. It's a conference that's like a unconference, where it's not about the number of people that attend. It's more about the quality and the purity of the ideas that are able to shine forth. And so I know I'm hyping this thing up. I haven't mentioned the name, but I wanted to also give an interesting note about the conference too, is that you have to actually apply to attend. So it's not like a conference where you go on the website, you pay your money, and then they show you how you can book your hotel, book your flight, yeah. No, this is a exclusive community. It's a exclusive community for a reason, because the kinds of people that attend this conference are the top of their field. They're innovators. You see their TED Talks, you see their TEDx Talks, you watch their movies, you read about them in the newspaper, and sometimes you don't even read about them, you read about their work. And you would never know that they're the face or the name behind the work that's going on. And so I'm actually on the website now, and I click the apply button, and this says that this conference is a community unlike any other. We help people push the boundaries on their thinking and reinvent themselves. And I swear that is true. Please help us with a few short questions, and then we'll be in touch. So I'm not going to go into it. I actually want you to apply to this conference. And the name of the conference is called Dent. That's right, Dent. And it's based on the premise of Steve Jobs has a famous quote where he said, "I want to put a dent in the universe." And so this conference is one that happens every year. The next one is going to be March 22nd through the 25th in New Mexico. And what happens here is, of course, there's conference environment where you go and there's keynotes and there's breakouts and all that. But when I tell you the magic is really in the conversations, the magic is in meeting people. And the magic is in getting to learn about fields and industries that you ultimately need to care about and become a supporter of as well. I can give you an example. I was at the conference and I met this guy. His name is Kyle. I was like, "Hey man, nice to meet you. You know, I'm doing this podcast and I see that you live in a van." And so Kyle had a phenomenal story. He was one of the podcasts a few episodes ago. Maybe I'll drop the link in the show notes. But Kyle was a frequent attender of Dent. He had this very successful multi-million-dollar company in Las Vegas that he sold, and then he travels the world in this van, and he was sponsored by, I believe it was Winnebago. He was sponsored, and so he just creates and he curates and he posts and he takes pictures and he writes content and he shares, and he just travels the world. And I was so inspired by this guy because we were about the same age, and he was living his true, authentic life. He was doing what he wanted to do. He had climbed the mountaintop of success as an entrepreneur. He didn't like what he saw, or he wasn't, that wasn't his final spot. And he said, "You know what, I'm going to do something else." And so, he went off and he did. And I admired him for that. And I never forgot that interaction that we had. As a matter of fact, the interview that we did, we interviewed inside his van. And it was just so cool because we took a photo in the van and he put it inside his van. So like we had a little Polaroid, we took a Polaroid selfie, and so now like it's just a memory on his van. So that was really, really cool. So what I want you to know about Dent is that you should attend, you should apply to attend, and it's really going to change your life. We're going to talk more about Dent in the weeks to come. I'm going to interview some of the speakers, interview some of the staff. You're going to get some of the origin story behind Dent and what makes it so successful and the kind of community that you can expect there. But I want you to know that I want to see you at Dent. I want to shake your hand. I want to take a selfie with you. I want to talk about all the sorts of things that we're going to experience there together. So I want you to check out Dent. Check out Dent, and the website is dentthefuture.com. That is dentthefuture.com. And this is while you're working, because I don't want you to be working during this conference. I want you to set aside time to attend this conference. So don't work, go to Dent, because it's going to change your life.